Okay. There's quite a bit of load on this one. Okay, where am I going to put all these guys? So, we have been through quite a bit since my last little update. I'm moving again in another 2 weeks, so I figured I might as well get a few videos out before then. There probably won't be a whole lot of videos between now and like mid-November, just FYI. I know at one point I was releasing one video every day. That's not going to happen for the next little bit. I'm still hoping to get out my next worst to best at the beginning of November, so I've been working on that all of October, and trying a new series called How to Get Into, those bands that people have requested me to do like a worst to best that I don't feel I can do a worst to best because they're still recording actively. So for example, like Between the Buried and Me, Devin Townsend, Steven Wilson, these guys are actively putting out music, and the moment that I release a new worst to best, it'll be out of date within like a year or two. So I figured maybe I'll do like a How to Get Into, where I can talk about a band's full length discography without being limited to those artists that are no longer producing albums. So anyway, kicking around my back mind. That's not what we're here for. We're here to find out those albums that I've been picking up between the last record haul and this one. And we've been through 2 record store days, and I honestly haven't picked up any of the exclusive record store day records, only because none of them had really spoken to me. Like, none had really jumped out. So these are just albums that I've picked up during those times. So the usual kind of way that I'm going through these, I've got the used stuff first and then coming into some new releases. So the first little haul here, for those of you that don't know, I am an active patron of Waxman Records up in North Bay, Ontario. They have this brilliant idea of a mystery pack. So there are 4 randomly assigned albums. You just buy a paper bag with 4 albums in it. It's like $3 and it's beautiful. And so the first 6 albums here are from those mystery packs. I've excluded one of them only because I already have them in my collection. So I basically just donated them once I walked out of the store. So the first is Martine St. Clair. It's a French artist, very similar to like the 80s women rock. So we're looking at like Cyndi Lauper, we're looking at Tiffany, we're looking at those styles of expressions, but this one's all in French, and I had a really good time with it. The first song off of the second side is actually 8 minutes, and it's a journey. I really like that, so really fun track there. The next is The Best of Vera Lynn. A beautiful voice, like a voice of the angels in this one in particular. The track You'll Never Know was actually featured on The Shape of Water, one of my all-time favorite movies, so really fun in that one. Then I've got Kenny Loggins, a Keep the Fire. This is just a fun like 80s, 70s, 80s rock. Like, I mean, look at the boys on the back. It's very, very 70s in that sense, so that's fun. Next we have, this is, what is the actual name? It's just literally Magic Melodies by Eric Robertson. So it's got a lot of the different like classic themes like Chariots of Fire, The Rose, Homecoming, The Golden Pond, American Gigolo. It's just kind of fun. Piano works. I actually prefer this when it's done kind of across a like a composer's thing, like just Vangelis stuff, just Williams stuff. But I mean, it's still kind of a fun little mix, and you can see this everywhere. Like, I'm not surprised I finally got one of these because they're everywhere. Next is Come to the Fair, Folk Songs and Ballads with Carrie Kanawa. I think that's how you pronounce it. Her voice is stellar. It's like an operatic thing. Very, very beautiful. And yeah, it's a really fun time. I like this one. Next up, this one's actually the last one from the mystery packs. Music to Dance by Lawrence Welk. It's supposed to be a 2-disc, and it only has 1, which I'm a little saddened for because there's quite a lot of really good stuff on it. Like, it's a lot of the big bands, kind of rack pack kind of an idea. Really, really enjoy this style of music, and I don't have enough of it in here. It's also a little scuffed, so yeah, no wonder that the other album didn't come with it. But the first album that I got from this was really, really good. Okay, next up, we've got 4 albums that I picked up from Value Village, because Value Village has, those records kind of in the back. And sometimes you can find some really, really good gems. And one gem in particular is Spartacus by Triumphirat. Love Triumphirat, one of my favorite German prog groups. Not quite krautrock, but definitely kind of up that ante. This is one of their like full-on concept albums about Spartacus. Not my favorite from them, but definitely a gem. So if you don't have Spartacus by Triumphirat yet, check it out. Old Love Dies Hard is probably my favorite one. Very, very, very closely followed by Illusion on a Dumble Dimple. Next up, we have Gil and Bill, Let's Dance at Christmas. I picked it up just to see what the heck this sounded like. It's just fun. It's just some fun Christmas stuff. I also love the fact that the last one is French-Canadian melody. So yeah, like not all of these are Christmas tracks. In fact, some of these are just straight up like dance tracks, like kind of like ballroom though, like Romance, the Foxtrot, Colony Boogie. So yeah, just some fun stuff, and I love that album artwork. All right, so next one is a Percy's Face Strings. I have a number of Percy strings. I gotta try that again. I have a number of Percy Faith strings. And I mean, the woman that they have on the cover there is gorgeous, and her eyes are just infectious. She's like, So I have a number of his stuff. I think I actually have that one. And it's just some really, really nice late evening, enjoying a glass of red wine type of a string. And it's actually like the bouquet of love, right? So it's very much in that sense. Just some fun late evening classical without being like classical, you know? Now, this one I got just for the kicks. It's Aloha Hawaii. It's just fun. And I mean, straight out from the 70s and 80s with our model on there. It's just fun. I have a couple of like these Hawaii stuff. Just some fun stuff. Just some fun stuff on that. All right, so that's all those ones. Now we're getting into some used classic stuff. And first up, we have Kano Eclipse. I got a couple of Kano albums. My buddy Travis Rudolph got me into them and really, really enjoying them. Very like French-Canadian prog stuff. And this was another one. So yeah, really, really fun. Next up, we have a couple of Tall. So we have Jethro Tull, Minstrel in the Gallery. Love this one. Not my favorite, but definitely love it. My favorite one is a Cold Wind to Valhalla. Love that one. And then side 2 has some really, really fun stuff like Baker Street Muse. It's got some really, really fun ebb and flows on that one. But yeah, not a lot of like classic stuff on here, but just a really fun ride in terms of a Tall record. Now, this one I actually haven't put on yet, so I don't actually know what it sounds like, but a lot of people love it, and that's Stormwatcher from Tall. Still hadn't actually listened to it, so I'm really excited for it. It's one of the few Tall albums I haven't actually spun from start to finish, so really excited to dive into that one. All right, next up, we've got some Kate Bush. I'm doing a really, really deep dive in Kate Bush's music over the October season. I find her music is very fall-inspired. So first one is her second album, of Lionheart. Love the presentation on that. It's a gatefold. Love the actual songs on here. The first track of Symphony in Blue was always a delight for me. Love her voice, love her presentation on this one. Then we have one of her more popular ones of The Dreaming. I kind of like Lionheart a little bit more than The Dreaming. I know a lot of people love this one more, but you know, just personal taste. I again love the presentation on this one. Love a lot of the fun tracks on this. The title track, Sat in Your Lap being the opening track on here. Really, really good stuff. Really, really like it. And then I picked up one of her few live albums on stage. I was a little disappointed of how short this is. There's only 4 tracks, and I just wish that there was a little bit more to it, you know? But it's still a really fun time, and I have a kick listening to this one. So yeah. All right. Now we're getting into the new releases. These are either new releases or re-releases. They're all brand new, no previous owner before that. And first off, I finally picked up my favorite Keane album, Keane Hopes and Fears. This is their first album. I love this album. I love Keane. Great British band from like the 2000s. Their latest album of, what was it? It's gone now. From last year. Brilliant stuff. This is still their best. And my girlfriend has the second album from them. So I have the first album as well as their third album. This one was the first album I was slightly disappointed with. What was it? The Night Train and the one that they released after the Night Train were more disappointments, and it wasn't until their more recent one that I actually started to really get back into it. But Perfect Symmetry, even though it's not their best work, still has some really, really good stuff. My favorite track is Playing Along, as well as, what is this? The title track of Perfect Symmetry and Love is the End is a brilliant way to end this album off. Love is the End is heart-wrenchingly beautiful. So if you haven't already checked this out and you're a Keane fan, I highly recommend that you do. All right, so I had to pick up this one just for kicks. I've heard about this album, I've seen it a couple of times, and I figured, okay, I might as well do the plunge and get into it, because over the past summer, I've been getting into this style of music because I've been kind of warding it off. I was raised to think like this music is the devil, never listen to it. And that's straight up disco. So I got Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk by Mecco. Man, this is a lot of fun. The whole Star Wars suite on this is just a banger, and I love how they fuse in the different themes into this kind of disco light. Other Galactic Funk is fine. It's very rhythm based, and I'm not a big fan of that, but you know, it's fine. But overall, a really, really fun album. I highly recommend checking it out. All right, next one is actually an album from a band that reached out to me. These guys are fantastic. I've been listening to this a lot during the summer when I was getting into it, and that is Fire Tigers All the Time. A great 80s revival, kind of like 80s fun pop. Nothing too complex, nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary. I mean, if you were to put this on with blindfolds on and say that this is just another band from the 80s, like, you would have been convinced. If you haven't checked it out yet, do so. It's a good time. All right, so this one is straight up from my childhood. I was a closeted fan of theirs. I never really got into them because I never allowed myself to. And now that I'm an adult and I don't have other kids making fun of me, I just have to worry about adults, but I can actually pick and choose who I hang out with now, which is great. I can get into these guys and not have to worry about being viciously mocked. And that is, of course, the genius that is the Spice Girls. This is Spice World, their soundtrack from the movie that is, of course, brilliant. Spice Up Your Life and Stop are two just bangers that you can't not just dance around to. Lots of fun. Love these guys, and I wish I got into them more when they were kind of in their heyday, but yeah, lots of fun. All right, finally, well, not finally, because I still have a handful of ones left. I've got Dedicated Side B. I actually prefer this one over the original album. So Side B is just great. One of the main selling features is that it's one disc. So I can't go wrong on that when it's physical vinyl. The tracks on here are still, they still get me going. They're great. This Love Isn't Crazy, the opening track, Stay Away. I love Now I Don't Hate California After All. It's just this fun thing. Let's sort the whole thing out. I mean, there's so many really great bangers off of this album that I couldn't help pick it up. So yeah, good time. Great one by Carly Rae Jepsen. Yeah, I love it. All right, we're rounding off here. Let's see which ones. We've got 4 left. First, on my ever-continuing mission to collect all of the King Gizzard albums. This is another one that they released in 2017, I think it was, the big 5 album drop, and that is the Sketches from East Brunswick. I love this style and presentation of the band, the very pastel, jazzy, impressionistic side. It's not too heavy, it's very mellow. I love some of the themes and flavors that are on this album, and they're with the Mile High Club, which is just a great pairing for the two, and it's just very impressionistic. It's just them jamming out in the studio. I feel like a lot of these are essentially them just putting on a microphone and jamming and seeing what happens. So a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy this one. All right, this one I was actually surprised to find, and that is Tim Bowness, Abandoned Dance Hall Dreams. He released a new album this year that was actually really nice, and this one I was surprised to find. It's not necessarily his best work, but I mean, it's mixed by Steven Wilson at No Man's Land, their own little studio. Not his best, but still good. I mean, not a lot of people like Tim's vocals. I do. And I thought this was a nice kind of pastel album. Yeah, kind of like what you're getting here is what you're getting in the album. So there you go. And speaking about, pastel impressionistic albums, I finally broke down and I finally picked up the Swans album, Leaving Meaning. Love this album. Not necessarily as good as The Seer or To Be Kind or what is it? The Floating Man, the Wailing Man, the last one, like the trilogy albums that they put out. It's still good and it still has some really good stuff. I still feel like a lot of it is a lead up to the last side. I mean, I still love everything that these guys are doing. It's just like, this is the style of music that I really, 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 really like. So yeah, Leaving Meaning, great album from the Swans. All right, final album, rounding this all out. With the release of their latest album this year, I'm slowly getting all their other albums. I mean, I already had quite a bit of them. I think I'm only missing the album that they put out previous to their latest release. Anyway, grand reveal, it's Gazpacho. I finally picked up Massa Atropos. This was one of the first albums that I didn't necessarily connect with right off the get-go. I actually like March of Ghosts more, even though this album has better songs. And that's only because March of Ghosts is a better album from start to finish, whereas this one is just a good album in terms of like the songs. So like Defense Mechanism, Snail, River, Massa Atropos, Vera, and Splendid Isolation. All these tracks, grade A material. It's just kind of how they fit on the album that I'm still not quite a fan of. They're still good. It's just, yeah. I will also admit, I believe they switched Massa Atropos and Will to Live. So it doesn't open up with Massa Atropos 1. It opens up with a different track on the pressing. So anyway, yeah, I finally have this one. So now I have everything starting from Night, going all the way to Moloch, and I'm just missing Soyuz. I hope to have Firebringer soon. That one's coming in the mail whenever it wants to arrive. So anyway, finally got this one. Huzzah. So now I think I'm just missing their first 3 albums and Soyuz. I don't have Soyuz yet. And that's about it. That's all the record collections that I have from now. So I think the next one I'll do is probably going to be after Christmas, because moving won't have a whole lot of time to pick up more albums. So who knows? Maybe I'll pick up a whole bunch. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got. What did you guys think? What was your favorite album off of the bunch? What was your most surprising album out of the bunch? Let me know all about that by commenting down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.